Dear Sister Podcast. We got a great show tonight. Every show is good because we talk, we lift, It's a place where you get an opportunity for a man to give you love, give you wisdom, expecting nothing in return. I think every woman needs. Tonight is big because this is our first ever interview, our first ever guest interview on the Dear Sister Podcast. So this is big. This is a major, major thing for me. It's a major thing for y'all. I'm looking to bring in great women who have great things going on that can share with you things that are where they've been creative, where they have created themselves. That's the biggest thing, because it's not about just what we do or what we create. It's about women that have created themselves, rebuilt themselves to put themselves in a place where they can build community around them. I got a brilliant guest tonight. She's an author. She's a teacher. She's a leader. She just released a great, great book. I'll let her tell you about it. But all over social media, I'm seeing her take this book store to store. And I'm not talking about small stores. I'm talking about the big ones, the Walmarts. She's moving and it's brilliant. Her name is Alexus Smith, and we're going to get right into it today. Let me bring her in and let's talk to her. Let's talk to her and see what she has to say. She has plenty to feed. Alexus, welcome to the
Hello.
Dear Sister Podcast, my sister. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm so honored that you chose me to be the first guest to come on the show. I really am.
You are the first guest, and we are honored to have you. And it's
Yes.
a community. It's a community. And like I said, and you heard me say, it's about women having a place where a man can give them love and wisdom, expecting nothing in return. And
Right.
I don't think a lot of women have that in their lives.
Right.
But also, I want to bring them other women who can speak to them, tell the story of life, because it's not just getting caught up in the accomplishments. Those accomplishments were dug up from somewhere. You didn't just
Absolutely.
become accomplished. It's like, no, you had to dig it out. And I know you have an amazing story. You're a mom. You're an author. You're just putting it together. Let's let's get into this a little bit. And let me take my book down because we have to sell yours tonight. So
Okay.
let me get the Solar Sarah out of here.
The double
All right.
promotion.
Um, let's talk. Um, I'm going to listen. I'm going to call this show tonight. I've already titled it. I could have waited for you to interview and put a title together. But when I look at your work, when I look at your books, when I look at how you operate,
Mhm.
um, I called this show tonight "Making the Invisible Seen."
Wow.
Yeah. So I told you, I did a little study.
That was
I
good.
dug in a little bit. I
Okay, that
dug
was
in,
good.
and I think that's kind of, if I can say, I'm guessing because I
Mhm.
don't know you. It's just from what I've studied.
Mhm.
And looking at you, it seems like that kind of encapsulates who you are and what you want to do in
Mhm.
the world for women, for children, for disabled children, is make the invisible seen. So does that kind of fit you?
That does fit me. That does fit me, even in regards to me feeling invisible, growing up. Just from life circumstances happening to me, I didn't really feel seen. I always felt overlooked, like I wasn't enough, and I didn't want anyone else to feel like that. And so I make people feel valued. I let them know that we see them, that we hear them, that their words are important.
Hmm.
Yes, so it was perfect. You were spot on.
Tell me more about those spaces in your life. How old were you when you were really, I guess the greater question is this: how old were you when you really noticed that you were unseen? Because
Hmm.
you can be unseen and not really know it because of the space you're in as a child, or you're just moving around.
Yeah.
But when did it hit you? Like, yo, nobody sees me.
Right. So it started to hit me when I became a teenager. So when I was a little girl, I was very slim, and I was dark skinned. And so, in that dispensation of time, that wasn't popular.
Mm,
So I would get called black, or, just get called derogatory things that kind of broke down my self esteem. And so
mm,
something that I do, in regards to that, is about building confidence, is because confidence doesn't just come, it has to be built.
mm.
And not a lot of people understand that it has to be built. And so because my confidence wasn't being built up,
Mhm.
when somebody would call me something or say something to tear me down, I would look at myself as that. And so it started when I started school, especially when I got to middle school, it was horrible for me. Middle school was
Mm.
horrible for me because I had low self-esteem, I didn't have confidence, and I went around looking at myself through the eyes of other people. And that's how I defined myself because I didn't know who I was.
So it was a space in your life where you were looking for identity, didn't know how to
Yes.
give it to yourself. You know what? Let me go off my own course for a second, because
Okay.
that what would you say right now to a group of, let's go deeper. What would you say right now? You have a woman sitting right in front of you. She's 48 years old and she's still undefined. What would be the first few words you would say to her? She's staring at you in your eyes and
Mhm.
she knows that whatever you're going to say is going to heal her. What
Right.
would you share in that moment?
So what I would share to her is the first and foremost is that Jesus Christ is a healer. And I couldn't heal myself. God had to pull me out of that.
Mm,
So your identity is not in you, your identity is in Christ. So I would let her know that she has to seek God, and I would give her steps on how to find God. Because
mhm,
the unfortunate part for me is I didn't grow up in church. I didn't
right.
grow up in God at all. Like my mom would say little spews here and there about God, but I didn't have a foundation until I was
Mhm,
20 years old.
mm.
And by then, life already done tore me up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I would tell her that she needs to find God, that she needs to find herself in God so that she can know that she's fearfully and wonderfully made. And I feel like that's what I lacked. I lacked a foundation of God. So I was just doing any and everything
Mm.
because I had no foundation.
Yeah, yeah. And that's so interesting. I had to speak at an event earlier, and I was talking to one of the coordinators, and I
Yeah.
was saying one of the biggest things is we talk a lot about empowerment and encouragement and these
Yeah.
things, but what I'm learning is you can't encourage a broken person,
Yes.
right? Because even if they're encouraged, if they can't walk, they can't walk.
Right.
They're too broken to. So it's like the real work is to put someone together, like you're saying, to 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 have them look at their ability,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like otherwise they're just dealing with this disability,
Mm.
the disabled mind, the disabled thinking.
Yes.
You know, that's amazing. And so let me ask you this:
Mhm.
how did your coming up frame your passion? The easy answer I know is, look, I went through it, so I want to help somebody else. But I
Mhm.
know that you're more reflective than that.
Yes.
Um, what drives you? What parts of that broken space drive you to say, I don't want to see any other women stuck where I was?
Yeah. So what really drove me is because I found myself in situations that I should have never been in had I been whole.
Hmm.
And so it's kind of like a preventative measure
Mhm.
for the young women and kind of healing the girl and the grown women. Because a lot of times, I do different approaches. So when I'm talking to somebody younger, I'm building up like, hey, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're wise, you're strong. Even to little
Mhm.
boys, I let them know that they're handsome, they're strong, they're smart. You speak well. I
Mhm.
just did an event at a school the other day, and the little boy told me, he said, when I look in the mirror, he like, I hate what I see. And he said that in an assembly with hundreds of kids,
Mm.
he's broken and he's 9 years old. 9 years old. And so I came from a place where I felt just like him. I just
Mm.
never voiced it.
Mm.
And so I applauded him. I'm like, you're so brave for
Yeah.
even saying that out loud.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
brought him in over to me to kind of, just because that was a vulnerable space for him. So I brought him in closer and just talked to him about it. And he was just like, I hate how I see. I'm like, you have to change your language. You have to
Mhm.
change the way you talk. Even if you don't see yourself as that right now, you talk about who you will be or who you are becoming. Right.
Mm.
And so he took that on. He asked for my autograph at the end. So I felt like a little celebrity. I felt a little hype. So I'm like, you are mine. And so, I scribbled it, I did my doctor's signature right on the book. And so it comes from a place of me being broken. It comes from a place of me not seeing value. And then when I talk to grown women, you can tell that they're still operating out of that brokenness, out of that unhealed place. Because look at your
Mm.
decisions. You're 40 years old and you're
Yeah.
making terrible decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not
Yeah.
because you want to make them, you don't value yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you value yourself, you would have never allowed somebody to say that to you. You wouldn't stay in some of the toxic relationships you would be in. You wouldn't allow certain people to talk to you a certain type of way. Now, of course, we're still going to be calm and speak to people in a polite way. But in some situations, you should have been exited. But because you don't have the self-esteem to get out of it, you stay in it because you feel like you deserve that because you
Yeah.
can't get better.
Mm.
So I
Yeah.
don't want women to be stuck because they have a lack of self-esteem. Like I have.
Operating out of the trauma. Every decision is coming out of the trauma. Yeah. Yeah. That's a place to let me put this. I want to share this now because this is the space we're in. Your
Okay.
book, Shattered to Success. I got it up on the screen.
Yes.
Everybody, you can take a picture right now and it'll take you right to that link. You can buy that book while we're talking. You don't even have to wait till after the show or anything. um Shattered to Success.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
um Instead of Journey to Success or Climbing to Success
Yes.
or all these other common words, common journeys to success.
Yes.
Tell me more about being shattered to success.
And so normally the terminology is shattered to pieces. But in this instance, you're not shattered to pieces, you're shattered to success. And not success as the world views success, because the world views success as money, having a nice car, having a nice house, having the white picket fence. But there are a lot of people that have that, but internally they're broken. Internally they hate themselves. And so
Mm-hmm.
I put
Mm-hmm.
shattered to success because although I went through those things, it made me who I was today. It made
Mm.
me stand for something and help other women get pulled out of what I was in. So me being shattered, it wasn't really a loss. It was actually a success.
Were there places in your shattered time that you never saw yourself being successful?
Absolutely. So I would consider myself, um, everybody has a black sheep of the family, right? And so in this instance, I was the black sheep of my family. So my future really didn't look promising. Um,
Mm.
my future didn't really look like I was going to amount to anything. And I always had the knowledge, and the brain to do things, but I would just do the opposite.
Mm.
I would do the opposite. And a lot of that came from not really believing in myself or feeling like my life was worth anything.
Mm.
Like I didn't even have anything to live for. And so when I had my daughter, a lot of that changed as well because I'm like, well, I got something to live for. And then when I found my purpose in Christ, I have something to live for. I have an assignment. I have to, go and heal and go and talk and go and pull people out and go encourage and go and build people up. That's what
Mm.
I'm assigned to do. And not just in the four walls, but also in the marketplace
Mm-hmm.
because people are bleeding everywhere. And I believe that that's my assignment to go and help, to go to heal, to go and pull up because there's so many people that are stuck and they're ready to give up. There are so many people that I have ran into that were suicidal.
Mm.
And they ran into me and they said, well, I don't have any money. I allow all these people to do stuff to me. I don't have a promising future. And so
Yeah.
what do I have to live for?
Mm-hmm.
And it was times that I was on the edge, pulling people off the cliff when I was ready to jump off myself.
Yeah.
And it was right at the time when I was ready to give up where somebody need encouragement to keep going every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I believe that, it's my calling to to help people, to help heal them, but lead them to the absolute healing.
Yeah. Yeah. How does when a woman goes from shattered to success, how does she hold on to that success with the fear of the other shoe dropping of that shattered coming back?
Mm. So what I can say to that question is that she's just going to have to just, again, trust God, trust that God is not going to fail her. What I want to say in regards to that is a lot of times I had doubt in people. I had a lack of trust for people because so many people that said that they was going to hold me dropped me.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I came into Christ, I'm like, well, what makes you different than the
Right.
people? So, and these are people that I can see
Mm-hmm.
that are failing me,
Yeah.
that are disappointing me,
Mm-hmm.
that are dropping me. And so what is different about you? And
Mm.
so, and so a lot of times I was used to disappointment. I even geared my mind to be disappointed because
Right.
I was disappointed so much in my life. But what I can say is when I really fell in love with God, when I really fell in love with Christ and I really started walking in his ways, he let me know that I can trust him with anything and everything. And
Right.
so when I started leaning on him and trusting him more and more through the years, that's when I was able to let go of that fear of being shattered again, that I
Mm.
can hold on to it. I can hold on to Christ. I can hold on to that hope, that
Yeah.
unfailing love that loves me without me doing something to get it. Or even when I gave up on him, he still didn't give up on me. And so
Yeah.
again, a lot of things lie in finding God for yourself because
Mm.
you can't do this thing on your own.
Right. What would you say then? I think we live in a stage where success has to be redefined.
Mhm.
The concept of success has to be redefined because what we saw as successful, what we see now in Hollywood, what we see with the fallen leaders in every
Mhm.
genre, from music
Right.
to Hollywood acting to ministry and all these things. I think we've all looked at this thing as success, and then people begin to chase that as
Mhm.
success, and then a lot of people are went from starstruck to completely lost because their definition of success is beyond failure now,
Right.
and they don't know where to go next. As a woman, what would you say success is for women? I want your bold philosophical Alexis take. Now, there's going to be a lot of people with different definitions,
For
but
sure.
from your experience and from you having to guide your light, guide your daughter, sometimes pull yourself up by your own bootstraps and have to figure it out. What
Yeah.
would you say success is for a woman?
So success for a woman is loving yourself, and not the facade of loving yourself or what you want people to see. Because a lot of times women wear this mask and they act like they're okay, they act like they're confident, they act like they're secure, but on the inside they are crumbling.
Mm,
So I want success to me is when I can show up as myself and I actually love myself.
mm,
Because there were so many times that I was pretending to. And then you have women that will often say, oh, I would never do something like that. Oh, I would never say something like that. I'm the one that's going to tell you I did say something like that. I
mm-hmm,
did do something like that. So I think that certain women try to put off like that they're better than one another, but on the inside, they're crumbling. And
mm,
so I'm saying all that to say
mm-hmm,
that success for me is knowing God, finding a relationship with God because He's the one that guides you to all truth.
mm-hmm,
Loving yourself unconditionally, even when you make mistakes. Because
mm-hmm,
there were times that I would hate myself for certain mistakes I made.
mm,
And even after it was long gone, it was repetitive thoughts. Oh my God, I can't believe you said that, or I can't believe like you let that happen, or so it's also forgiving yourself.
mm.
Because I would be stuck in that a lot. I felt like I used to live in condemnation. If I did something, I held on to it for
Yeah.
years. I held on bitterness for years.
Mm-hmm,
I was bitter. I compared myself to other women. Well, why do it look like she's getting ahead and I'm still where I'm at? Or, or I feel like I don't look like her, or, like, and these are the things that a lot of women are not going to say, right? So I feel like success is showing up as you genuinely.
Yeah.
And a lot
Yeah.
of times it's a mask, it's a facade. I'm not saying every woman, but a lot of times there is a mask that women put on to seem strong, but they are really weak and crumbling on the inside.
Hmm.
So success is me loving myself,
Yeah.
my heart being healed, me being made whole, me raising my daughter in Christ, me raising a respectful daughter that loves herself at a young age.
Yeah.
So she doesn't even go through the things that I went through. Toxic relationships, bad friendships, bad decisions. But like come on, like I was making terrible decisions because I did not see the value in myself. And a lot
Hmm.
of times when you don't see the value in yourself, people also don't see the value in you. Because people can smell blood. They can see when you don't have no confidence.
Whole time out. Time out, because on this show, when somebody drops a bar, I gotta drop a beat.
Yeah. Oh,
Mm.
oh.
People can smell blood. All right. All right. Now I can get back to it because okay. Uh,
Yeah, they can smell the blood. They can smell blood. And so, usually when an animal smells blood, that means that they're the victim, they're prey now.
yeah.
And so that's what happens to us. They smell blood. And now, oh yeah, so a guy come along, he smell the blood, oh, I'm gonna use her up because she don't even
Yeah.
love herself.
Yeah. I always say that about men
Yeah.
on the Dear Sister podcast and two men on the Dear Brother podcast is,
Okay.
but I warn women, like, men know it could be a group of 7 women together. A
Hmm.
man knows who's the most broken one in that crew right there.
Yeah.
Who's the most vulnerable. I don't care what you look like. I don't care what you got on. I don't care what bag you
Yeah.
carrying.
Yes.
None of that matter. Like,
They
she's
smell that
broken.
blood. They smell that blood
Yeah.
all over you.
Yeah. And I think that the sad part is, like you were saying earlier, I think sometimes women feel like if I put on this facade,
Mhm.
then they won't see. But it's like that brokenness is in a place that you can't cover up.
Right.
Like it's no shower for that. It's no perfume for that.
Mm.
It's no piece of clothes. It's no tag for that. It's you can't. It's
Oh, you gotta drop the music for that too, cause that was a bar.
we need okay.
You
Any
gotta drop the
bars?
music.
We need beats.
There's no perfume for that.
Listen, we I think this is a good segue because shattered to success, but then you did something
Hmm.
with that success. You didn't just get there,
Yes.
you did something with it. And I think that's the next level of real success is like I'm free from something to be free for something.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so then freedom is not my destination.
Hmm.
It's like, what did it free me to accomplish? What did it free me to do? Especially when I really honor it when you get free and then you say, I'm not just free to say I'm free, I'm going to free somebody else.
Right. Absolutely.
So I think one of the big things that not only did you help women with your book, then you jump in this other realm with kids.
Yes.
And you're obviously your passion was sparked to advocate for kids.
Mhm.
I don't just see your book as a book for kids. It's this book is like you're advocating
Yes.
and you're teaching them how to advocate.
Yes.
Excuse me. I saw you in one of your, I don't know if it was a video or picture,
Hmm.
but I saw that you carry a mirror with you
Yes.
when you do your book setups.
Hmm.
And I saw you have a little girl in front of it.
Yep.
Tell me more about that whole situation.
Yep. And so it's called the Mirror of Affirmations. And my daughter even has her own bathroom and she has affirmations all around her mirror. And so what I do is I bring the mirror. So I was at Walmart, I believe when you've seen that video. And so what I do is I bring that mirror and I have the child come up and say 3 things that they love about themselves. A lot of children cannot name 3 things, which is a problem. If you cannot name 3 things that you love about you at 7, 8, that's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem. And so what happens is that means that their confidence is not being built up.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no shade against the parents, there's no shade against the caretakers, but it's just more of an awareness that I have my daughter now. She's 5 years old and she can stand in the mirror and name three things just like this. And then name three more things, and then three more things, and then three more things. When I was a child, if I was to stand in the mirror, I wouldn't be able to say anything
Yeah.
because I didn't like anything. And so I know where people are coming from. So I know how the girl feels when she's looking in the mirror and can't name anything. And so what I would do is I'll piggyback and say, "Oh, hey, well, I like your hair,
Mm-hmm.
or I like your skin tone." And they're like, "Yeah," or "I like your eyes." Or I'm like, "Well, how do you love? It seems like you have a big heart and you're a giver, and it seems
Mm.
like you care. Do you like animals?" And I talk, I bring it out of them so that they can know that, hey, confidence and loving myself is not just on the outside, but it also
Mm.
starts from within.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I bring that mirror around so that they'll be able to build confidence. And the crazy part about it is that grown-ups will come to the mirror and some will avoid the mirror.
Mm.
They'll avoid the mirror, and some, even with this one guy, he only was able to say one thing about himself. At 39 years old, only one thing. So that's how you know that it's more than just children that need it, but the parents, when they read the book, they also get something out of it.
One law on this show and the Dear Brother podcast is flat out vulnerable honesty.
Yes.
I'm telling you right now, I probably couldn't stand in the mirror and say three things that I love about myself. I couldn't.
Yeah.
Because you know what would happen? I would have something to say because I know how to talk. I talk for a
Yeah.
living. But you know
Yeah.
what I would talk about? I wouldn't talk about who I am. I would just start talking about what I've done.
Wow.
And so then you have two separate groups of adults, some
Yeah.
who cannot say anything, and
Mhm.
then some who only lean on what they've accomplished.
Right.
But that's still not you.
That's still not you.
And that's honestly, that's where my struggle would be. I'm gonna do it tonight. I'm gonna get right in the mirror tonight, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
stare there until I can figure this thing out.
Get in the
Because
mirror.
that's a powerful concept. That's life
Yes.
changing. That's life changing. Even if you can't figure out what to say, the fact of knowing that,
Mm-hmm.
that the challenge is the mirror.
Yep.
Like,
Challenge.
either you have something to say or you don't. And it's not a thing to feel broken about if
Right.
you can't. But I see where it can become a challenge to say, no, I really do need to find something I can.
Right.
That's an amazing. What brought that on? What drove that particular exercise into your work?
Okay, so what happened to me is I was in a very, very, and you said we was unleashed here, right? We
Mm-hmm.
were raw, you said. So I was in a very, very toxic relationship.
Okay.
And I don't really talk about toxic relationships a lot. Like I kind of wanted to hide that part of me.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to, and that was another part of trying to hide my testimony. Like, oh, like I don't want people to know that I was in a terrible relationship,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so people need to know that so they can know how to get free. And so what happened was I was in a terrible relationship and one of the mirrors got shattered.
Mm.
And so when I came downstairs, I kept crying, I'm upset, and I come downstairs to the mirror, and God told me to look into the shattered mirror. So I stand in the mirror and I look, and how the house was set up, it was a shattered mirror, like one that stands on the floor, and then it was a wall full of mirrors that was
Mm.
not shattered. So when he told me to look in the shattered mirror, I'm like, he said, "What do you see?"
Mm.
And I'm like, "I can't see myself clearly." He said, "Now look in the whole mirror." So when I looked in the whole mirror, he said, "What do you see?" I said, "I can see myself clearly." And so what he said to me, God said, "When you are broken, you make broken decisions. When you are broken,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna make broken decisions. You're every time
Mm.
because you're not seeing yourself clearly. You're not seeing the situation clearly. You're not seeing the relationship clearly. You are not yourself." God was telling me there's a lot of times that you would choose something different if you was whole.
Mm.
You would choose something different. You would have chose a different role. You would have chose a different partner had you been whole.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because you're broken, these are your decisions.
Yeah.
They're a mess. They're shattered. Now God said, go back into the mirror that's whole. This is decisions that I want you to make. Because when you're
Mm.
broken, you make hasty decisions. You make bad decisions. You make quick decisions.
Quickly.
You're not thinking straight because
Yeah.
you can't see clearly.
Yeah.
And so from that point on, I wound up leaving the relationship after that day. Like I didn't even wait. I
Mm-hmm.
left. And so the thing was is that I'm going to start making better decisions
Mm-hmm.
because I have to. And so now I use that as a prop so I can let people know. Like a lot of times we have to see something in real life. So I want them to step in the mirror and say, what do you see? Can you name three things that you love about yourself? And if you can't, I want you to go home and say this and
Mm.
say that. I have a big heart. I love my skin. I love the way that I look at things. I love my
Mm.
perspective.
Yeah.
I love how my voice sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Even stuff that you hate, you say it until you love it. Don't
Yeah.
get surgery. Don't go. I mean, unless it's like, critical and you about to go away. But don't go get surgery and try to alter your body. No, love yourself for where you are right now, right here.
Yeah.
And that's also the preventative measure that I don't want girls looking at these picture perfect girls on TV and think that I have to accomplish that or I have to look like that. A lot of times when girls feel like they are inadequate or they don't value themselves, they chase after a fake image.
Mm.
And they're
Mm.
altering themselves just to not look like themselves because they don't like themselves. Now that's
Yeah.
not everybody, because some do get alterations, and they do love themselves. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of girls are not doing it because they love themselves. They're doing it because they don't like themselves.
Mm. Mm.
I thought about getting surgery when I was a teenager, like, maybe I should change this. But when I realized it don't even really matter how much you cut yourself up, you hate yourself.
Mm.
And you keep jumping from limb to limb, you're never going to be satisfied
Yeah.
until you learn to love what's in that mirror.
100%. 100%. As a I'm struggling between the words healed and whole.
Mm.
Okay, I'm gonna guess what you would say at this. So I'm gonna just say one of them that I feel like is you. As a whole woman,
Mm-hmm.
because I guess that you would say you still have places to heal.
For sure.
Some people would say, well, you can't be whole if you're not healed, which is not fully true. We are all whole. It's about
Mm-hmm.
seeing yourself that way.
Mm-hmm.
As a whole woman, you look at these children, you fear their future, how they might see themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It brings you into a concern about children as a whole. And then you take another leap. It seems to me your life has been leaps.
Yes.
So you took another leap into the invisibility of disabilities,
Mm-hmm.
which is your latest book.
Yes, my latest book. Yes.
Were there moments, what moments sparked you to write that book?
Right. So initially, I wasn't even going to write a book about disabilities at all. So this is my third children's book. My first two books are about like dogs, but they all fall in line of, building integrity and building
Mm,
confidence. But this latest book was different to the point where I'm like, well, let me take this to God. And so I'm like, do
mm,
you want me to write a book about disabilities? Because I'm confused. I'm like, do you want me to write a book about disabilities? Because I'm not really sure. I don't have a disability. And so I kept saying that to myself, like, I don't have a disability. And so I remember I was like, I think the last time something happened, a woman was standing outside my house and her dog was like going crazy. And my daughter tried to run to her dog. So I grabbed my daughter and we wound up just having a conversation. And then she found out I was a children's author. And she like, oh, you should write a book about disability. So I'm like, at this point, do I got a disability at this point? Because I'm not sure why I keep hearing
that's
this. I
amazing.
want to write about dogs.
Yeah.
That's now I love writing. I love being an author. That's what I did since I was 15 years old, but I never thought it was going to be a career. And
Yeah.
so I took it to God. I'm like, well, if you want me to write a book about disabilities, I'm like, then give me a title. And I remember one time I was cooking in the kitchen, and at the time I was at a specific job and I was on leave. Now, at the time, I didn't realize that I had the functionalities of someone that was depressed, right?
Mm.
I was suffering with depression. It would be clutter sometimes around the house. I wouldn't want to be in the light. I was tired all the time. I didn't, and
Yeah.
I have a 5-year-old daughter that is
Mm-hmm.
active, and it was times where I was struggling to play with her, and then I started looking up the signs of someone that was depressed, and I fit the description. So when I came to God, and so what I did was is I went on leave from my job, and I talked to one of the staff members, and she said, Alexis, she said, it seems like you're very stressed out. And I'm like, yeah, I am. I just need some time away from the job. And so what she told me was, she said that you know that you can go on leave for disability for being
Mm-hmm.
depressed. So a light bulb went off.
Mm.
And because nobody would know that I was depressed because it was invisible. So God said, you do have a disability. It's an invisible disability. So
Mm.
not only are you going to talk about physical disabilities that are seen or that are seen, but you're also going to talk about disabilities that go under the radar
Mm.
that people cannot see. And you
Mm.
suffer with depression for a long time, and now it's time to come out. And so that's how I was led to write the book, The Invisibility of Disabilities, because not only was I suffering with that, but there are a multitude of people that are suffering in silence with these
Mm.
proclivities.
Mm. The illustrations on the book,
Mhm.
very, very vibrant, very joyful, and I even love the kid in the middle that's like made of just pieces,
The
right?
autism pieces, yes.
Yeah. Um, was that an intentional balance of the colorful presentation to such a serious topic?
Yeah, so it is, again, it is for children. So in regards to children books, you want it to be attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that with children, vibrant colors, they're going to run to. And God even told me to make the boy in autism pieces. And literally, that's the first thing people talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when I tell you, and God always confirmed that He's with me with every appointment I go to, with
Yeah.
every event, He showed me that He's there, and He's telling me that I told you to do this thing. Yeah.
That's big because the proof that you've been led is always, it builds
Yes.
your confidence.
It does.
It structures and restructures your faith. That's
Yes.
how do children react to your book when they read it? What's their reaction? What have you seen? Let me ask you two questions. What's their reaction, and is there any stories that particularly stand out to you?
Yes. So the children are excited. And so with that book, if they are of a younger age, the parents will have to read it to them, of course. The parents
Mhm.
will have to read them the book and let them know like that they can. So it brings about hard conversations, and it's also soft introductions on disabilities so that they can know what they are.
Right.
And so I travel the tri-state area and I teach about disabilities because they're not talked about. People don't know how to handle it. And so the kids that are younger, the parents of course read to them, but the kids that are of age, they love it. They're able to relate with each character.
Hmm.
And my personal favorite is Sasha, and she has body dysmorphia. And so body dysmorphia is seeing flaws about yourself that only you can see. So
Hmm.
that's why that one is considered an invisible disability because it is
Yeah.
not seen by the naked eye.
Yeah.
And that is something that I suffered with. So I personally agree with Sasha, and I went through some things like Sasha. And so that's my favorite character. And that's the character that a lot of girls draw to as well. And that's the
Yeah.
one that's holding up the mirror and she hate what she sees.
Yeah. That's something, and it's very interesting. You talk about that because it's like even looking at a picture of yourself, your eyes are automatically drawn to what you dislike about yourself the most.
Yes, every
and
time.
and and then your mind engages with your eyes and says, everyone sees this.
Yes,
That it's so psychological. Like being
yes,
torn down is psychological, but being built back up is psychological.
yes.
And it's a pattern. um what's some of the biggest misconceptions you've seen out there about children with disabilities?
So I feel like the biggest misconception is that they should be isolated.
Hmm.
They should not be isolated. I get, you want them to be safe, but I feel like they should not be isolated. It should be inclusion.
Mm.
And for them to be included, I think that the other kids, what I'm doing now, they should be taught about these disabilities so
Yeah.
that when they see them, they are not shocked, they are not caught by surprise, they are not saying that they are weird, they're not trying to tease them, but they understand that they have a proclivity
Mm.
and that they're still unique, they're still wonderful, they're still regular human beings. They just operate a different way. So I feel like you isolating them is not necessarily helping them all the way.
Yeah. I was a principal before, and of middle school.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I saw, and I
Mm,
refused to make the disabled kids different. Like that was one
right.
of the things that just stuck in my mind. One, just being a believer, it's like we're not sticking anyone in a corner.
For sure.
Um, but it's like, no, come be a part, not because we want to make you a part of our thing, but even deeper, can we be a part of your thing?
Mm,
Right? Because then it's almost a who's outside looking in deal,
right.
right? You see a disabled person, it's like, oh, this is the way it should be.
Right.
So you're on the outside and we're going to crack the door and let you in.
Mm,
Versus like, no, what if they are the thing?
right.
And what if it's a wealth of information and fun and creativity and an altered view of life you can see
Right.
through their eyes, but we refuse because we've determined that we're the normal one.
The normal one.
Yeah. And so that was a big part. I saw that. I see that a lot in education,
Yeah.
even from being a kid. My mind goes back to in school where it was like someone would come and say, Jimmy, Charlie, Sarah, and they would pick these kids out, and everybody knew these kids were going to,
The other
right?
players. Right.
That came to my mind as a principal too. And we had a program that would come to the school, and I would say, you're not pulling anybody out.
Yeah.
You're going to sit next to them in the class, even if you group them, while the teacher's there and things are going on, and you can then break down what's happening in the class so they can get
Right.
it on another level.
Right.
But to pull them out automatically makes them feel like I'm not them, and then it tells the other kids there
That is
they're
something
not
wrong.
us. And it's a terrible concept.
It's a terrible concept.
I'm really thankful for what you do.
Thank you.
In your experience, how can parents and administrative staff and people support children with disabilities?
So they can support them by learning about their disability. Because every disability is not just black and white.
Right.
So if you learn about the disability and learn the child, I think that things will go better, because a lot of times they try to put a copy and paste to every child. Like every child that has autism, they're not the same. They may have similar, similar things about themselves, but that is not the exact same. So I feel like if you learn the child, then you would, or if you learned about the disability, then it would be a better outcome. And even when it comes to parents need training, because a lot of parents are frustrated. We have a lot of single parent homes. I'm one, right? And my daughter can take me to the roof. And so that's frustrating when you don't understand your child. So I understand my child when she's frustrating at times, and I love her to death, but she's frustrating at times. So imagine your child is nonverbal and you're in a single parent household and you already have bills on your mind and just how you gonna keep the lights on, and you gotta get food and get them dressed, and now they're not able to talk or have these proclivities. That would be like, it's gonna stress you out.
Yeah, 100%.
And so if you learned about it, take classes and take time being patient with your child, that would help as well.
Right. It takes a lot to have people slow down.
Yes.
Because we live in such a fast pace that it's almost like slowing down is the wrong thing to do.
Right.
But for children, they must be slowed down for.
Right.
Because they don't live at our pace. They don't think at our pace. They haven't been exposed to what they're supposed to be and do yet.
Right.
And I encourage men to do that same thing on the Dear Brother podcast. Fathers, sometimes you got to get out of your world and jump completely into like their world.
Mm,
And that takes humility
mm.
because as an adult, you feel like, oh, that's just child's play.
Yes.
But the real freedom is rediscovering the child in you, rediscovering what you're trying to get by. And I find that a lot of fathers and mothers too, they heal when they jump out of this fast-paced rush world
Mm. Yes.
to jump into this world that their children are in. It's a healing place.
Right.
Um, what legacy would you say you want to leave for children and young women that see your work?
Okay, so I want them to know that when they read my work or when they come in contact with my work,
Mm-hmm.
to know that they are heard, they are seen, and that they are loved, and that they are able to overcome whatever they are in right now.
Yeah.
And that a lot of times you feel like what you're in right now is the end, but sometimes it's just catapulting you to something else.
Yeah.
So I want them to know that this is not their end. They still have time. You still have a chance. As long as you're breathing, you still have time to get it right.
Mm.
You don't have to stay in that toxic relationship. You don't have to endure abuse. You don't have to keep looking in the mirror or dodging mirrors because you don't want to face the fact that you hate yourself.
Mm.
And you can come to love yourself. And it
Yeah.
is possible. Because there were certain things about myself that I never thought that I would love. I'm like, I don't care what happens. I'm never going to love this part. And now I find myself loving the very parts of myself that I hated because I took the time to become whole.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm. Phenomenal. I always end every podcast. Well, this is the first one on Dear Sister.
Okay.
Um, but I end with the same question.
Okay.
If everything was gone, all the successes, all the things you've done, everything's gone,
Mhm.
what would you want people to know about Miss Alexus Smith?
So I would want them to know that I loved God,
Mm-hmm.
that I completed my assignment. I would want them to know that that's like a hard question a little bit.
That's why I
That's the
close every show
stumper
with.
right there. Because
Now I'm
it's so
putting
much
you
to
all.
say.
This is your screen. Go ahead.
Okay. So I would want them to know about me that I never gave up. That even when I felt like giving up, or it seemed like it was a dead end for me, that I kept going, that I didn't throw in the towel, that I seen light at the end of the tunnel. I would want people to know about me that I persevered through every through every heartache, through every pain, through every struggle, through every negative thought, through every negative thoughts, through all the low self-esteem and the fear of what I'll become. I would want them to know that Alexis never gave up. Even when things got hard and she got knocked down, that she still got back up and she still fought until the day of her death. So that's what I would want people to know, that I persevered.
Miss Alexus Smith. Ladies, we have been in the presence of an advocate, a woman of faith, an author, a mother, an aware person,
Yes.
a big hearted person,
Mhm.
deeply soulish, a deep thinker, afraid of the future, but we'll go into it either way.
Yes.
I'm proud that you were our first guest on the Dear Sister podcast.
Oh.
And I am so thankful that you shared your time
Yes.
with this community.
Yes.
You will always mean a lot to us. And these over 2,000 women that will be watching this podcast.
Yes.
You have our support, you have our prayer, you have our backing.
Mm.
Because you blessed us today. You blessed us today. And it means a whole lot to us. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for your vulnerability
Yes.
and just telling the truth about
Yes.
who you are and how you got where you got.
Yes.
Before you go, what's next for you? What's the next big thing up your sleeve? Not only because we want to be in your business,
Yes.
but we want to hold you accountable. Like we want to be able to like, yo,
What's
where that
going
at?
on? Yeah. So I do have another journal coming out for children. It's called "You Are Seen, You Are Loved, You Are Heard," and it's a parent guide in the beginning of how you can teach your child to affirm them, and then it's also how the child can affirm themselves.
Mm.
So I do have that journal coming out. Um, and so far that's it. And I do have my curriculum, of course. I have my 8-week program that I travel to the schools doing, that's being implemented in certain schools right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now that's the next big thing. More events. I do have a publishing company called Love Lifts Press. You can Google my name, Google that company, and I'll come right up. And so I'll be publishing other people's books soon. I believe in thorough research. So, I practice with myself and then I'll be able to add other people on for sure. So that's the
100%.
next big thing. Yeah.
Well, we'll make sure that we have all of your information in the description of this video,
Okay.
all of your contact things. How can teachers get a hold of you? How can parents get a hold of you? We'll have
Yes.
all that in the description. We'll make sure that everybody out there, y'all will be able to find Miss Alexus Smith
Yes.
to experience her gifting and all that God has put in her. Sis, thank you again.
Thank you
Thank
for
you again.
having me.
May you be extremely blessed every move you make, and may all of it, the weight of your work, the weight of your passion, fall upon your daughter, and she carry the legacy forward.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. I really appreciate you. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much. Thank you so much. Let me go ahead and close the show. Dear sister, I told you, I bring the best. I bring the best people here because you are the best people and you all deserve to hear from the best people. I really appreciate you all. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And I want to thank all of you who have been subscribing. This podcast had 100, 200 people, and 200 of you, and I was so blessed by it. To see us climb to 1,400, 1,600, and cracking 2,000 is unbelievable. So thank you, everybody who's subscribing and liking and sharing the podcast. I really appreciate you all. Listen, my name is Christian. I'm your brother, here to give you love, here to give you wisdom, here to give you what you need for the future. A man who wants nothing in return. I love you to pieces and to the moon and never back. I'll see you all soon, brother. Peace.